The next mode we have over here is where we have 4 modes. You have a normal, you have a sport, a mountain, and a hold mode. Normal mode is what the Volt will always run in for its best efficiency. The sport mode is if you want all the power of the 300 volts, 116 kilowatt battery pack. The best description I give you of a sport mode is almost like a 245 horsepower V6 sedan. Mountain mode is when you want to, say, climb Mount Washington. You want to precondition that battery for that heavy amperage draw. The next mode, which is a new feature for 2013, is a hold mode, and that is basically, which is an advantage to us here in New England, where if you have a fully charged battery and you wanted to take off on a 0-degree winter morning with burning fuel to get heat quicker. Once you, say, get up to the highway, let's say you're going from Concord to Manchester, once you're on the highway, the engine's fully warmed up, you're comfortable, then you could take hold mode off and you go back to normal mode, and then you're going to run all electric. Other features on this vehicle is the standard combo panel. We have our HVAC climate area. We have our AM/FM CD display, lock and unlock, electric park brake. We talked about the leaf mode and the driving mode. The Volt is powered on by this power button and powered off by the power button. Everything else inside the car is typically ergonomically laid out nicely. You've got a button over here which will show features up on the display. You can configure the ball. You can configure it back to a fuel tank. I recommend leaving it on the display of the green ball for the fuel efficiency. Best to do is to keep the ball rolling. Ideal speed is about 48 to 60 miles per hour. Anything above 60, the ball starts to climb. As you are moving, the ball does roll. If you brake too hard, the ball will drop and change yellow. If you accelerate too hard, the ball will climb and turn yellow. So the ideal area is to keep the ball rolling right in the middle. Fuel gauge. You can display an efficiency gauge out of the battery. Tutorial information. Metric, unit, English. Messages will be displayed here. Tire pressures. Oil life monitor system. I should make a comment on the oil life monitor system, since the gas engine really does not run a lot. The bare minimum is at least once per year you must change the oil in the Volt. It'll tell you the overall fuel economy, average, gallons used, miles gone. There's 2 trip odometers in this car. And then a navigation if it was so equipped. Above here, our typical layout of interior lighting, OnStar, 3-bay garage door opener, lighted mirrors. We have our center glove box, USB port, 12-volt power source. One more 12-volt back here. If we go to the back of the vehicle, standard 12-volt battery would be back here underneath the back floor. If anybody was ever curious to know where a 12-volt battery was. This would be the standard 110 charger for the Volt. There is no spare tire in the Chevrolet Volt. We have a compressor to inflate the permanent tires.
Mike, what happens if somebody runs out of battery when they're on the road? Battery runs all the way down.
Let me ask that in another way. What happens if you run out of fuel and you still have battery? If you actually run a Volt out of fuel, I've done this, if you run the Volt out of fuel, and let's say you have a fully charged battery, what the customer will see will be a service engine soon light will come on. A message will say reduced engine propulsion power. The car doesn't slow down, but the messages come up. The engine shuts off because now you're out of fuel, and then you can keep going another 40 miles or whatever's left in the battery to get to a station or wherever you're out. I wouldn't recommend doing that a lot, but if you ran out of fuel, the Chevrolet Volt will still run on electric, whatever battery power is left. A lot of people sit there and comment when the battery is depleted. You're looking at the gauge and there's no green bars left. you still are in that, I call, buffer area, that third of the lithium where we don't really use. So what I'm saying is, if you're on the highway, the battery's depleted, you're running on fuel. If you are in traffic, like you get off the highway, you will notice at times you are then going back to electric. So it kind of transitions back and forth.